Welcome to the Practiceology 7 Questions in 7 Minutes podcast. I'm your host, Paul Wright. In this podcast, we share the secrets of elite allied health business ownership and teach you the strategies, tactics, and mindset needed to grow a highly profitable and successful allied health business that works without you. If you'd like to work directly with the Practiceology team and receive personal coaching and mentoring to help you earn more, work less, and enjoy your life as a health business owner, visit mypracticeology.com to find out more and apply. All right, in today's episode, I'm joined by the great Nicole Cozean. Nicole, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks so much, Paul, for having me. I'm really excited.
We laughed before we came on. I hit Nicole up, must be nearly a year or two ago, about niching practices and everything else. And she's been going on a great journey since then. She's been a pelvic health physio for over 16 years. She's the founder of Pelvic Sanity Clinic, which has got multiple therapists, lots of staff, 6-figure revenue. She's going great with Pelvic Sanity Clinic. She's also the creator of PelvicPTRising, which is a business mentorship and clinical practice resource program for everything to do with pelvic health. And in the business of pelvic health, they've got over 150 plus businesses they've helped. They've got over 100 plus mentees who've been in their programs. Have doubled their businesses and increased revenue, all while making their business work for them, which is what Practiceology is all about, Nicole, as you know.
Yes, absolutely. It's not fun otherwise, right?
It's not fun. But as I say to all of our guests, but can Nicole deliver this in 7 minutes?
Oh, here we go.
All right, you right to go?
I am.
All right, we're away. Nicole Cozean, who's your ideal client?
My ideal client is somebody that is super passionate about pelvic health physio, doesn't want anybody or any thing to dictate how their plan of care for their patient should go, like an insurance company. And maybe they've started their own practice. Maybe they think that they maybe want to start their own practice, but the bottom line is that they got to be super passionate about pelvic health and serving patients in that way.
All right. Well, question 2 then. So what's the problem you solve for these guys? What do you do for them?
So the problem that we solve with PTRising is building confidence, not only in the business growth and skills that it takes to run a business, but also making sure that their clinical skills are up to par with what patients are going to expect. We can help make people make less mistakes as you go along, and really at the crossroads of where clinical expertise meets business. So what does it take to get a patient to truly buy into what you're giving them in pelvic health care? They've got to buy into the plan of care. They've got to buy into you. They got to buy into your practice. And that is where your clinical skills and your business skills really mesh and match.
Got it. So question 3, with about 5.5 minutes left, you're on fire. Typical symptoms people experience or health professionals experience when they don't have the confidence in their skills or their business model. What happens?
Yeah. So I would say in their skills and business model, it's one of two things. It's either burnout or overwhelm. And those two things are kind of linked. So you either feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not serving this patient well. You feel inadequate at producing the type of care that people are deserving. Throwing down $200 for a session is a lot to a patient. And so that's one of the symptoms of feeling like you are inadequate, or am I really the right person? Am I really the right fit for this person? And secondly, that burnout section of maybe your schedule isn't filled, or maybe someone's falling off the schedule. And now you're like, oh my gosh, I need more patients. And my question is, do you really have a marketing problem?
Yeah, we see it all the time. So you almost touched on it. Question 4 then, with about 4.5 minutes left. Common mistakes these guys make when they try and solve their confidence problem. They just said they're burnout and they're stressed. But what do they do wrong when they try and fix it?
Right. So we're kind of going back to what I just said, right? They assume that having more patients will fix their schedule. And really at the end of the day, a lot of times what ends up happening is that we forget about the people who have actually already have bought in, and we just need to get them over the finish line. And so we do that by, number one, tracking business metrics in the way that we need to make sure that they're following an actual flow, a patient acquisition flow, but then also making sure that your clinical skills are on par to make sure that you're not missing. You actually are being able to serve them in a way that is going to actually have tangible results of decreased pain, getting back to better sex, like whatever that pelvic health problem is that they came into you for.
I love the way that you've merged the business and the technical for these guys. You've really nailed it. So question 5, about 3.5 minutes left. A valuable free action. What can they do on their own? What can our audience do to help this now?
So I talk a lot about understanding your pelvic physio, for all you peeps there, or pelvic PT ethos. What do you actually believe? How do you believe that pelvic health should be actually practiced? If you dig deep and actually go back to what your vision and values are for both your practice and patient care, and that's huge, then it's easier to market. It's easier to get that patient to buy in because you're really convicted that you are the right place for them. Number one, with your clinical skills, and the model that you've chosen then is really what's going to be best fit for them. And so the actionable item is to go out and figure out and sometimes it's easier to look at what's not there, or what you're mad at when you see something, right? If you're somebody that, like, just to give you an example, manual therapy versus exercise, like, do you really believe in manual therapy, or do you really believe that movement is the key? We know that both are the same, are important, but what are you gonna die on that hill where manual therapy is your thing, right? So you really got to figure out what you actually believe about how pelvic PT should be practiced. Yeah. And then that becomes your marketing.
So question 6, about 2 minutes left. Valuable free resource. Where, if they want to find out more about what you're doing, where do they go, and what have you got for them? I love what
so they can go to PelvicPTRising.com, but we actually have a special webinar that is all about the 6 ways that you're losing patients that isn't related to marketing. And that is PelvicPTRising.com/losing, LOSING.
And even if you're not into pelvic health, get into what Nicole's doing, because what she's niched something. She's done something really well with the niche of the whole idea of this pelvic health. But whatever your niche is, look at what she's doing and how can you do it. So what was the URL again, Nicole?
It's PelvicPTRising.com/losing. And you're totally right. It is applicable. Especially that webinar specifically is applicable to anybody.
Beautiful. Question 7, about 1.5 minutes left. What's the one question, Nicole, that I really should have asked you that would give great value to our audience today?
You could have challenged me and said that, confidence is such a nebulous topic. How do you actually feel like you help people feel more confident in their practice? And to that question, I would say that we actually help people, and it's really important for people to really define success for themselves and then not move the goalpost on that. So whether that is something about how many patients that you need to see, how many patients you want to help, how much revenue you need to really figure out what is going to define success for you, or if it's time freedom, and then stick to that, because when you hit that goal, you're there, instead of spinning your wheels and thinking that now we have to move on to the next goal, right? We don't like to move goalposts. You got to define success for yourself and stick to that plan and celebrate it when you hit it.
You've just nailed the entrepreneurial curse, haven't you? We set this and we get it, and we go, yeah, but that's okay. But what's next?
Yeah,
I love it.
And it's bad because then that can, you're in a cycle then with the overwhelm and not hitting thing and not feeling successful when it's something that you built that objectively you're crushing, but you don't feel like it.
I love everything you've done, Nicole. I've been watching you very closely, as you know, and I've known what you're doing for a while. So great stuff. I love what you've niched. I love how you've done it. So the URL again, just so you can get the resource, was?
Yes, it is PelvicPTRising.com/losing.
Watch what these guys are doing. I love it. Well done, Nicole. Thanks for joining us on the Practiceology podcast. And it was an easy 7 minutes for you. Well done.
Easy 7. Thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate it.
I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Practiceology 7 Questions in 7 Minutes podcast. For more episodes and to subscribe, rate and leave a review, head over to iTunes. And if you'd like to increase your health business profits, reduce your personal work hours, and spend more time with your family and friends, you can find out more about the Practiceology Mentor Program at mypracticeology.com.